Welcome to the program, your deep dive into the sounds, visuals, and ideas driving the marching arts forward. We don't just watch the show, we break it down, tear it apart, and celebrate the art of marching design. I'm your host, Daniel Mathoy Jr. for General Effect Media, and on my left, our newest correspondent, journalist, content creator. You may remember him from such videos as Show Day at the Texas Marching Classic or Grand Nationals with Leander High School, straight out of Leander, Texas. Aiden Spicer, welcome to GEM, Aiden.
Thank you so much.
Yep, excited to have you here on our first episode of the program.
Yeah.
And I don't just have to talk to myself, talk to a screen, and feel like a lonely kid just staring at a camera. So I'm excited for you to bring your perspective as young and limited as it is and as you are, but nevertheless, you can definitely bring an unjaded opinion, because as someone who has been involved with marching art stuff for 25 years, we sometimes forget what it was like to be an unadulterated fan,
right,
and all that stuff. So that's going to be really exciting. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Save the music stuff, but who are you? What do you do? Tell everyone who Aiden Spicer is.
Yeah. So yes, my name is Aiden. It is definitely a pleasure to be in the seat today and to be able to be a part of General Effect Media and all of this stuff, especially as someone who has watched the shows in the past. So a little bit about me. I am a current student at the University of Texas at Austin, Hook 'em Horns. I am a alumni, as he said, of Leander High School. I plan on pursuing music education and just kind of learning everything I possibly can. So it is an absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So tell everyone what instrument you unfortunately chose and you play.
So I play the trumpet. But I also play percussion as a secondary instrument.
Oh, well, not everyone can make that their primary instrument. It's okay.
It's hard.
It's in the family lineage. Your dad does play trumpet, or did. When's the last time you heard your dad play trumpet?
It's been a little bit, that's for sure.
It's been probably 30 years for some of us to have stuff. Awesome. All right. So you're going to be at LHB, LA Longhorn Marching Band, for those of you who don't know those things. Hopefully, right? You're auditioning and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be here in Austin, not just the Austin area. So that'll be great.
In Austin.
Yes. Now, we're going to talk a lot about, at least for the summer, drum corps stuff, and we're going to talk about marching band. And I think a lot of people out there may be wondering, well, who are these two guys? Who are these yahoos? Who's this old person? Who's this kid talking about band? What do they know? What have they done? Now, I just said that Leander High School was at Grand Nationals. They are a Grand National finalist this year, and a previous Grand National finalist before. Definitely one of the most nationally known programs, the OG band of LISD, Leander Independent School District, for those that has Cedar Park, Vandergrift, Vista Ridge, Glenn, and Rouse High School. So all heavy hitters in their own classifications, indoor drumline, concert band, marching band, 4A, 5A, 6A, etc., all that stuff. But have you marched drum corps? You just said you're about to be a freshman, so have you marched drum corps, Aiden?
No, I have not, but I'm planning on marching drum corps next summer.
Oh, well, this is news, because he committed to a 5-year contract and failed to mention that. Now, if you had your pick, who would be? Do you want to share who it is, or do you want to alienate anybody right off the bat?
The Bluecoats, absolutely.
Oh, the Bluecoats. They're not bluing. That's right. So you wouldn't want to follow in your father's footsteps, who auditioned for the Cadets. And I told this story. This is 1998, and we didn't have cell phones or any of that stuff.
Right.
We went out to the summer thinking that your dad was going to march the Cadets. And then when the show was in San Antonio at Alamo Stadium, all of a sudden we see him trooping with Santa Clara Vanguard. It was just weird. It's like, how did this happen all of a sudden? So the Cadets, RIP, don't exist, but the Vanguard do again. So you don't want to follow in your dad's footsteps, or what?
There's just something about the Bluecoats, man. I mean, obviously one can always wish, because just making the Bluecoats is not just something that usually happens right off the bat. But
for sure,
it's my dream corps. So like, if I could like pick and choose specifically, yeah, I would absolutely march the Bluecoats.
And you want to march trumpet, not mellow, because your dad marched mellow.
Yes, I would like to march trumpet.
Okay,
that's for sure.
all right. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I too did not march the drum and or bugle corps. Back in the day, it was more of a money, more of a kind of thing. Drum corps was very different in the '90s. But had I marched drum corps, it would have been in those glorious '90 years. I would have auditioned for the Madison Scouts when they did those Latin shows. They did the Pirate Show. They did Jesus Christ Superstar. That would have been great. The closest thing I've ever done is actually just writing for and designing for drum corps stuff like Revolution, Guardians, 2 open class corps no longer competing in the state of Texas, as well as the Madison Scouts, the Colts out of Dubuque, Iowa, and just a tiny little bit with the Spirit of Atlanta. I think they were just Spirit of something or other back in that time. But anyway, so that is our thing. Depending on the season, we will bring a lot of different expertise and opinions. When it's marching band, you've most recently marched. I just write music for marching band. When it's drum corps, we're kind of just watching as fans, spectators, judges, critics, all of that kind of stuff. But that's okay. That's okay. Now, you said that you want to audition for the Bluecoats. So does that mean the Bluecoats are your favorite drum corps?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Wow. Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Mine's the Madison Scouts. And I always say that the Bluecoats today are what the Madison Scouts were like in the 90s and the 80s. They were like the cool kids. They had the swagger. They were still all male, so only men could march them. But there was just this like, whenever Madison was announced any place other than first, everyone booed. They didn't blue, they booed. Because it was like, boo, how could the Madison Scouts not win? They had the most entertaining shows. And when you watch them back, they're critically entertaining, dated because it was the 90s. But also you kind of go like, well, I guess I understand why Blue Devils won that show or whatever. So the Madison Scouts are my favorite show. But do you have favorite drum corps rather? Do you have any favorite shows right at the top of the bat? Who are your favorite shows in drum corps?
So off the bat, this is, very typical. Of all time, I gotta say Crown 2013.
Which one is that one?
E equals MC squared.
E equals MC squared. Their first and only world championship. Yeah, that was a good show. Good horn line. Good drum major with Linda Harvey. It's a different last name now, but at the time she was Linda Harvey. That's awesome. What else? You didn't say Bluecoats, but that's the one you want to march.
So my favorite show is Crown. However, there is a new contender for my favorite show.
Breaking
honestly,
news. Here we go.
Yeah, like nobody really cares, but
they'll care in the comment section.
Oh, for sure. But the my new favorite show, maybe, I don't know. I've been kind of on the debate, but Bluecoats 2023, The Garden of Love.
Oh, The Garden of Love. That's a good show.
Yeah, it's really a little controversial with some of my friends, that's for sure. But it was one of the first shows that I really saw in person that made me go from like this to a little bit more sitting up in my chair.
That meme?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know memes.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think I remember it was DCI, Southwestern Championship, San Antonio, Texas. I was sitting with my dad and they started going and it kept going. It was just the coolest thing watching all of them. And then they got to the ballad and we saw that trombone soloist and flugelhorn soloist get up on that prop and basically just have a conversation with each other. And that really was what made me want to march the Bluecoats, because you watched the whole stadium go, oh. And one of the great things that I also love about the Bluecoats is they're not afraid to play piano, which a lot of people are. They're not afraid because they got to that hit, and your first impression is, oh, they're about to play triple F, like they're about to blow the walls down. But then they didn't, and they played like just the most connected, just beautiful section ever. And that was like the first time, like, well, maybe like they do it differently, you know? Like that's one of the things that I really like about the Bluecoats. They're not afraid to do different.
So they're not afraid to take huge swings in show design, definitely. I do prefer the year before show. I don't remember the name of it, but it was kind of basically the same. It was the Twisted LSD Trip.
Yeah.
And they played Bump and all that stuff. I think the Garden of Love was the next like iteration of that show. I did prefer 22, I suppose, to 23, but you know,
I think Bump was.
Oh, is it still Garden of Love?
Yeah. Garden of Love was Bump.
Bump, da-da.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What's the one where they formed the car in the back?
That's the
That's the one I like. What's that one?
I don't know.
But it's the year before. So the car isn't the Garden of Love.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the one that they formed the car. Let us know. Chat, put it in the chat below that we don't understand and remember who the name of these drum corps shows are. There's just too many. There's just so many. There's so many. So I skipped over this part, not that it's not important, but your musical, can you recap your musical experience, background, what you've done? We've mentioned that you played trumpet and you went to Leander High School, but if no one's ever seen you or knew you, tell them about your musical pedigree.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been playing trumpet since the 5th grade. Yeah, it's been a little bit, but
were you forced to play trumpet?
I wasn't, actually. I chose to. Contrary to popular belief, I chose
I'm
it.
pretty sure you glued a trumpet in your hand like Tiger Woods' dad.
Actually, well,
Glued
fun
a golf
fact,
club in his
I
hand.
wanted to play percussion.
And what did was it your dad that said no? He goes, you don't want to be broke when you grow up, do you?
Actually, it was my middle school band director. I'm glad she did it because I did fall in love with trumpet. But I remember I walked in the band hall. I was probably in 4th grade or something. I walked into my future middle school band hall and she was like, what do you want to play, trumpet? And I was like, I was actually thinking about percussion. And she was like, no, you're playing trumpet. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll try it. And then I ended up liking it a lot. So,
Gotcha. And so you've done, I don't, as a percussionist, I don't know all these things, but didn't you win some competition? A national competition, or you went to a national contest, or I don't.
Yeah,
tell me these
I mean,
things.
I can. So
Yeah, get nerd out, man. This is the only time we're gonna do this, so you might as well sell yourself.
So, I've been involved with the national trumpet competition a couple of times. In 8th grade, winning the junior solo division.
Oh, excuse me.
But it's not like that. But
Sounds like a big deal. How many of you that watching have won the junior national trumpet competition? Put it in the chat.
there's gonna be somebody in there.
They're gonna go like, yeah, I beat him.
Actually, I beat him every year. I've been involved a couple of times, mainly with the with my lesson teacher's trumpet ensemble, the ATX trumpet ensemble. We've been involved. We actually won this past year for high school ensemble. National trumpet competition, it's amazing. Not even though competition's in the name, it's more fun just because it's the closest thing you can get to like a marching band like retreat, but with just trumpets. Like they on like when they announce the results, like instead of like lining up on a field, like we're just kind of like in the stage in the pack, but it's cool because you just get to meet a bunch of trumpet players from around the country.
You've heard the joke why there's no trumpet Christmas, right?
I have not.
There's tuba Christmas where all the tubas get together and play Christmas songs.
Oh yeah.
The joke is that trumpet players just get together and play nothing but high notes the entire time. So is that what happens when instead of shooting guns in the air, like that kind of thing?
Well, yeah. In the I mean it does. There's a reason why I don't really go to the. They have like the showrooms where you can go try all the trumpets. Like you will actually get hearing loss.
You go play promenade and as high as you can.
Yeah, everyone does, I guess.
Okay.
But
Now, in the band, how many years have you had a solo in the marching band?
all 4.
Oh, are you serious?
I think
As a freshman?
No, not really.
Is it with an ensemble?
Yeah, mic'd up all 4, but solo for 3.
3 of those years. And how many years did you duet with your older sister?
I
Just the
never duetted, but we were featured.
Oh, okay. So that's the one I'm thinking then.
2 years in a row. Yeah.
And mellow, right?
And junior.
Oh, horn, right? The horn and
Yeah,
mellow,
French
whatever.
horn, yeah.
That's what she played. She still play it
Yeah. actually.
in Screaming Eagle Band.
She was in it, but she's going to do concert bands now.
Oh, okay. That's cool. And you were a featured trumpet soloist wearing shades because the show was called Shades this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to wear
See,
a bunch of different fun sunglasses. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Indoors. At
Indoors.
night.
Yeah.
That's groundbreaking.
It is groundbreaking.
My favorite 80s song, I Wear My Sunglasses at Night. Listen to it, and you'll understand. I'm sure Jeremy didn't think about that when he put that show. Jeremy's his father. So if I say Jeremy, that's Jeremy Spicer. Not to be confused with Aiden Spicer.
Got it.
He's the A1. I played percussion. I was a snare drummer and a bass drummer.
Yeah.
I was fine. Now, my claim to fame was my junior year, I got first place in region in Austin out of 72 percussionists.
Where'd you go to high school?
Crockett High School, baby, South
Okay.
Austin. 78. Now, when I was there, Aikens didn't exist.
Okay.
There was only one Leander High School. It was a very different time around the area. Marching band in Austin was not like it was Westlake and Leander, and like that was kind of it.
Georgetown, I think, too.
At that time, they weren't like dominating like they had in 4A or anything like that. We only had 5 conferences at that time. But I did concert band, and then I kind of slacked off my senior year and thought, oh, I did it my junior year. I could do it again. And I didn't. I didn't even get out of region. It was wild. I didn't make it to state. I was so close my junior year. And then Texas State, Southwest Texas, UT.
Yep.
Central Michigan. I went to a lot of schools. I've got 3 degrees. It says I know how to write music. I can't get a real job with it, though. I can't. I don't have a teaching degree. It's okay, though. I get to judge people without a degree.
Sure.
Yeah. I would do it with a degree. It doesn't really matter. So anyway, yeah. So let us know what you think about our pedigree. If you think you could play higher, faster, louder than Aiden
The answer is
on
probably
trumpet. You could definitely play higher, faster, stronger on snare drum than I do. These kids play rudiments that I've never heard of. When I judge indoor percussion, I do not judge music analysis because they're playing crazy things. I'll just judge general effect because I can be effective. That's why we have General Effect Media.
Yeah,
Look,
it's in
that
the
was a
name.
great
That was-
segue.
yeah,
Look at
it
that.
was.
See, you would think I've been doing this for a while. So, all right. So it's the first episode of the program, the show that we're going to continue on in all facets of marching arts throughout the year. Hopefully, during an indoor drumline winter guard wins season, we'll figure it out. Somebody's going to do it. Today's topic, or the main thing we're going to dive into, is the 2025 DCI World Class Preview. We're going to discuss all of the world class corps and one trying to be a world class corps. I'm not really sure how they fit into it. I think they're petitioning, probationary, they're
something
going to
like that.
make the move
For sure.
to that. So we're going to talk about all the drum corps, give you a little bit of info on how they finished, kind of maybe the changes they made, what we know so far publicly and maybe a little unpublicly about what they're doing this summer. And then maybe we'll talk about some thoughts, some wishes, some predictions about how this is going to go. So we are very high tech here at General Effect Media. This is where I get my tortilla soup, and you're going to pick blindly, and we're going to talk about the drum corps you pick. So Aiden, take it away. This is exciting. It's exciting. I'll probably put some suspenseful music or something. Oh, did you get more than one?
No, I was not expecting. Okay, Spirit of Atlanta.
Spirit of Atlanta. I got to take my glasses off because I'm old.
Got it.
All right. So Spirit of Atlanta, and we have our trusty notes because we didn't write everything on there, but I'll just pull this out. Now, Spirit of Atlanta, last year their show was called Creatures. You remember that show?
Yes.
Yeah. It had a bunch of props with giant creatures on
yeah.
it. They placed 16th last year, which was a -1 of slot. So I believe maybe the last time they were out, they were 15th, if I put this correctly on there. So they went down a slot as that went out there. Now, this was their lowest placement since 2017. 2017, they were 18th.
Okay.
So they did that. Now, if we're looking at how they did in prelims and semis, they were 16th in general effects, 17th in visual, 15th in music. Their highest caption was a 12th in percussion. Do you remember anything about this Creatures show from last year? It was a show about creatures. It gave me a very Where the Wild Things Are type vibe with the way it wasn't, they didn't want to do that, but probably for copyright and other purposes. But it very much gave me that kind of feel based, if you ever saw the movie or read the book of Where the Wild Things Are. But that's what I remember visually. So the show Creatures, anything that stuck out to you that you remember from that performance last year?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things that really stuck out to me about the Spirit of Atlanta, and especially their show, is their guard costume design. I was a huge fan right off the bat. As soon as they got on the field, my eyes went straight to it. And the way that they're kind of used visually within the drill and throughout the show, it was really cool. And I'd be interested to see even a reality where the full band is in something like that.
It's a drum corps. You're going to get flamed in the comment section, but that's okay.
Yeah.
The brass section. Full band. It's all right. It's all right. It's summer band. It's okay. It's okay. No, yeah, I remember enjoying the show, the soundscapes that they were producing. I felt like there was some really exciting momentum that they were building. I think the scores would dictate that maybe they weren't able to sustain that momentum throughout the season. Maybe the show didn't have the legs to carry them over the Crossbin, Blue Knights, Pacific Crest, Madison's getting into 12th place. But nonetheless, I thought it was a really solid show that they could build upon as, there's just some drum corps, a little rough up and down competition-wise, maybe some things off the field, but regardless, I thought it was strong, and it does lay a great foundation for what we're going to see. There's minimal staff movement going into this summer. Their show is going to be called Rocket, like a rocket, and it's featuring a wide array of music. Eric Whitacre, Elton John, Thomas Newman, Lawrence, the band Lawrence, right? That's the one with that quirky TikTok song where the white girl's like, "Hey, what you want?" And everyone was making fun of her, clowning her. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Martin Solveig, I believe that's pronounced it, and Richard Strauss. An eclectic mix of music.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. I like when I look at the rep list and I either have never heard of the song or it's like I haven't heard that on the field.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, oh, that's really interesting.
Or I like it when they mix it around. Like you look at it, you're like reading, you're like, okay, a bunch of classic, and you see, like, Elton John. You're like, okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting for the Spirit of Atlanta with their show Rocket. All right, who's next? I guess I should leave this over here.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. Okay. I don't even know who you're going to talk about. That's why it's random.
Mandarins.
Oh, the Mandarins. As my friend says, man up. But that's just because of Mandarins. Right. You know, whatever. Oh, man. Call me... what's his name? What's the announcer? The old man? Oh, they're going to flame me because I don't remember his name. You know, on the field.
We're both cooked.
Yeah. He can't pronounce the title, and I sure can't either. Vieux-Car. It's Nolans. It's Cajun. It's French. Regardless, I can't pronounce it, and neither could he. They finished in 7th place in 2024, 19.15, which was a drop in placement from the year before. It was their second highest ever placement after being 6th in 2023. Now, if we look at their strengths and weaknesses, 6th in visual performance, 7th in general effect, 8th in color guard and brass, 10th, their lowest caption in percussion. Now that leads to what they are doing, or what some adjustments they've made. They have replaced or just gotten a new percussion team. And if you're anyway familiar with percussion or with certain types of marching band shows, the names John Mapes, Ian Grom are not a shock to you. They are Pulse Percussion.
Yes.
They are at the forefront, the height of indoor marching percussion. They also do marching band music as well as marching percussion, all that kind of stuff. They also added Trent Groenwald, forgive me if I mispronounce that, to the percussion design team, as well as Connor Yasuda as their new percussion caption head. Their show, it's really wordy, and it's definitely artistic in a very installation, installation. If I must fall, ... the one I am becoming will catch me. Featuring the music of Will Healy, Lewis Cole, Phineas Baird O'Connell. What do you think? Okay, what did you think about last year's show, the New Orleans show?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, you like New Orleans? Do you like beignets?
I do like beignets.
Do you like seafood? Do you like jazz? No, seriously, do you like jazz?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, continue. So you like the show?
Yeah. So one of my favorite part, was how the show just started with just that trumpet player on that prop. But the coolest part, it's like I just like what they did with the props. Even although so simple, that's just cool because you weren't really expecting it. When they, of course, as the season goes, you're like, we know it's gonna happen. But at the beginning, you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. And all of a sudden, the thing just comes down, and they're playing Triple F. That's freaking awesome, you know. So I think that's really cool. A really cool attempt at getting the crowd up and engaged. Yeah. I was just a fan of the music. I really liked, honestly, just how powerful the opening was, and then how they continue to bring it, and especially. That dance scene, I don't remember if they ended up taking this out or not, but I know at one point they were dancing with the light poles of the streets and stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, Mandarins.
It wasn't my favorite show. Now, admittedly, and I said this last summer, if you watched, I don't like jazz. I really don't care for...
I love jazz.
I don't really like New Orleans. I know, I'm just I'm not into seafood, so I don't care. And I don't really care much about jazz, so that's two of the biggest things New Orleans knows for. I also don't, I've gone to Bourbon Street, but I'm just older and I just don't want to deal with that. So there's 3 things that I'm just the show wasn't made for me.
Yeah.
I was a fan of 2024, their show. I couldn't remember but the spinning guy, and it was just, the Hosier, really, really cool. Now, this year's show, I'm very excited about. They have a bunch of pipes on the field based on the pictures that they've put out, the videos. Your boy has seen and heard a little bit of it. And they're beefy. The brass, the brass it's very, to me, it's closer to what they did in 24 show design wise. And I didn't hear a whole lot of it. But the parts that I heard was very aggressive, very in your face, very exciting. So to me, I'm already way more excited, I think, about what they're bringing to the table this summer.
Yeah.
Than maybe what they did last summer. It has nothing to do. It's just not for me. Just wasn't for me.
That's fine.
Whatever. But yeah, and Phineas, not Billy. It's okay, right? You know, Billy's had her time on the field. That Billie Eilish and Phineas. It's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, pick out the next one. Who are we talking about next, Aiden? Takes drink.
Academy.
The Academy. When Opportunity Knocks. Now, last year,
The Door Show.
The Door Show, that's right. They were 18th last year, which was the same place they had finished the year previous. Consistency, that's right. Tied into for 2023 for their lowest placement since 2013. Their lowest was 19th. They're pretty much 18th in all the large captions. Their highest caption being 15th in visual performance. So they were a little bit more rewarded for what they were doing visually than maybe what they were doing musically or, I don't know, conceptually. I really haven't, I didn't hear their judges' tapes or anything like that. Now, Brian Murphy joins as a design supervisor and a drill designer. So they are changing drill designers this year. Also of note, Mark Richardson stepped down in May of 2025 as their executive director after serving in the role and founding the Drum Corps in 2000. So for the first time in 25 years, there's a new person leading it. The replacement is Josh Thai, I can't remember, I don't know how to pronounce it. This year's show, which to me sounds very Academy-esque, because Academy, even though they're in Arizona, in the smack dab desert of America, they do give me a northeastern British vibe, which makes sense because their show is called London Fog. And looks to explore Victorian London for their 25th anniversary. And Brian Murphy mentions that it will look back on the past with references to the coat and tie uniform aesthetic they've become known for and that they've maintained over the years. I believe Michael Rayford was the one that might have done that with them when they went sort of like that all black tux suit tie. You might have been very, very young when they first did it, but that's okay. You went to a whole lot of things. Now the music's going to come from a lot of different sources as we enjoy. Of course, you have Edward Elgar's Enigma Variations, a mainstay in orchestral rep, as well as music from The Batman, which I'm assuming the Michael Giacchino score, Loki, the TV score, and TVA. You know what TVA is?
No.
Is that a show? Is that a Marvel show?
TVA. Let me see.
Yeah, I think the TVA, isn't that the time? Let us know. There's so many Marvel things going on. So London Fog, you excited for it? What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's definitely a cool idea and a cool, you've seen like over the years, various drum corps and high schools try to create shows that reflect their past. And I do think that this is a creative way of doing it. I haven't, like, I would have never guessed London Fog, but it makes sense. Like you explained, I'm like, okay, so that's cool. I'm excited for it. Yeah,
it's definitely going to give us, as Jude Bowden, a whiff of time and space. I think that's a Bowden verse via Michael Cesario. You know, they did the Looney Tunes-esque show a number of years ago. They did the Drum Corps Bride. They have these very fan favorite fun shows. And this looks like it's going to continue sort of in that vein of giving us something that we can really just kind of look at and feel like we're in a, oh, this is definitely London. And they did London Bridge a number of years ago. So they'll probably bring back a little bit of London Bridge, some bridges, I'm assuming. So so that'll be exciting to see how the Academy out of the desert pulls off a British London show. But hey, you know what? We're putting art on a marching band field. So, you know, try not to think too hard about what it is we're trying to do. So, all right, who's next, Aiden? Wow us. I'm going to predict that it's Pacific Crest.
Santa Clara Vanguard.
Oh, I was so close. I mean, they're from the same part of the country.
Close. Yeah,
they're California folk. SCV, the Santa Clara Vanguard, as we mentioned, your dad's corps, not yours. Last year did a show called Vagabond, 6th place. Now they took a year off. They had to regroup financially, get things back, but seems like they are back and stronger than ever. Now this was their lowest finish since 2011, where they also placed 6th place. First in percussion, who could have predicted that one with the Renix? They were tied for 5th in color guard, 6th in brass and GE, 7th in visual performance. So that was kind of where we were with them. Now, the percussion, as we mentioned, won their 16th Fred Sanford High Percussion Award. It's just amazing that they dominate percussion the way Carolina Crown has seemingly dominated brass. Boston Crusaders dominating with the color guard. Their 2025 show, now you won't be able to hear it, but there are different capitalized letters in the avant-garde. They're capitalizing Vanguard in the avant-garde, which for a drum corps called the Santa Clara Vanguard makes total sense, right? It's like calling your show Crown Royal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids be 21. Now, another eclectic mix of music. Ervo Part, pardon me. John Corleano, Bella Bartok, Murray Schafer? Doesn't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know. FKA Twigs. I'm hoping the Miss Piggy version of, what is that song? It's Miss Piggy singing FKA Twigs. The kids would know. John Sathis, perhaps? Pasathis? And then Stephen Sondheim. I'm sure that warms your dad's heart. A musical theater nut. Can we say that about your dad? Fan.
Sure.
No major staff changes. So we're looking at year 2 of the return of the Santa Clara Vanguard. What do you think?
Yeah. One thing that I have heard about Santa Clara Vanguard, not about. I guess sort of.
Share it.
Well, their drum corps, it's majority veterans. So, which is definitely great because I've definitely heard this. Like a lot of the people coming back, it's basically like the same drum corps, which is I guess a perk of taking a year off and getting back, and now you have these people who they're going to be able to have and age out with as they go on. And I think that is definitely going to help them a lot, especially with their brass.
I have heard some material from the Kibbe Dome. I believe that's where the Vanguard. The brass is really good. You can tell that they are stronger, a little bit more mature than last year. The book definitely has a lot of meat on the bone for these kids to do. So it's not clean right now because it's June.
It's not supposed
and I don't
to.
even know when this recording was made, but there's a lot of notes. Like I don't know that there's any breathing space. It's got as many brass notes as the percussion has percussion notes.
Yeah.
So if you're excited about that, cool. If not, well, too bad. So Santa Clara Vanguard. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Sweet. Spartans.
The Spartans. Now we mentioned a drum corps that is not quite a world-class corps. They're not on this list, but they're on the other one. Not quite a world-class corps, but they are looking to make the jump. I think they're in probation or whatever they call it, where you want to do it. This is a transitional year in preparation for the move to world-class next summer. So next summer, 2026, we will officially see the Spartans. So this year, they're performing in 7 different world-class shows earlier in the season, and they will be scored alongside world-class corps. So we can see where they fit, how they potentially would go. Now, open class corps are scored along the same rubric. Like they're on the same sheet they voted years ago.
Right.
They didn't want to win with a 99 and then go to open class and get a world class, get an 82 or something like that. So they can kind of see how things would work if they were still in open class at that time, but there's no open class corps to compete them against at those 7 shows. And then they'll go to the open class shows where there's no world class corps. And so it's kind of a mixture of a summer, a world class tour, and then an open class tour. Spartans had a historic 2024 season, winning their 8th open class or Division II World Championship. Back in the day, it used to be called Div 3, Div 2, and then they moved it to open class, world class. Before that, it was like 96, 84, 26. I don't remember the numbers. Their show was called Utopia, Y-O-U.
Okay.
Utopia, which was a unique journey through the eyes of Burning Man. What do you know about Burning Man, Aiden? You been there?
No.
No? You even know what Burning Man is?
Nope. Sorry.
You're a youngster. You know what Coachella is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they had a very strong performance in visual in semifinals, placing 13th in semis as an open class corps, obviously making the push.
Yeah.
Most of their other captions placed 16th through 20th. This year's show, Mystica, maybe? M-I-S-T-I-C-A. Mystica. Would you say Mystica?
I would say
Mystica, perhaps?
Perhaps.
To take on a Spanish-infused spiritual transcendent experience. Yeah, this is very wordy.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, when I think of Spanish music, I think of James Newton Howard. I don't know what... I'm sure he did some very... Did he do one of the Puss in Boots movies, maybe? Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Don't really
Perhaps
know.
he did.
Ojos de Brujo. That's another one.
Okay.
Federico de Brito, not a grito, but a Brito. And another Spaniard, true to our hearts, Philip Glass. Philip Glass. But I'm sure he's done so much in all kinds of realms. I mean, James Horner wrote the music for The Mask of Zorro. So, I mean, a Frenchman wrote Carmen. Let's be realistic. And also an arrangement of I Put a Spell on You. That says here, to assure to be another unique and entertaining production. Thank you to our notes writer, Landry, for these wonderful flowery notes. Have you seen a lot of Spartans? I know they're open class and we're focusing on world class, but have you seen a lot of them?
I haven't, to be completely honest. I haven't seen a lot, but I definitely am interested, especially now with the their transition, and it seems that they are like a next up, like they're really trying to work hard here. So I'm really curious to see what they have.
Yeah, there was a year, I want to say it might have been 2019, the last year, before COVID. I was taking the field on flow marching, and they were so good. I thought that they were going to beat the Troopers and the Madison Scouts in semifinals that year. And they were doing a show, and I could say this, they were doing a show that I thought, why aren't the Madison Scouts doing a show like what the Spartans were doing? It was very high octane, aggressive, very in your face. And then we did a show like that in 2021, the COVID year. And then we didn't do another one like that, but they found their voice last year and are back to it. So good for them. Good for them. That was a knock on my affiliation with the Madison Scouts during it. 2021 was great. I loved that show. All right, pick it out. Who are we going? A little self-deprecation for all of you out there. You can't laugh at yourself.
Pacific Crest.
I was one off. Pacific Crest. Pacific Crest. Now, Pacific Crest is a nerd favorite. And by nerd, I mean like the Texas Bands guys, people that I associate with. They're nerds. They're music nerds. They're band nerds. Pacific Crest was their best finish ever, finishing 13th place with their best score ever, 86.35. And they did a show called The Broken Column, which explored the art and life of the artist Frida Kahlo. Now, they've made some changes. Lindsay Schuler, who was originally writing drill for the Troopers, and I believe still writes drill for the Battalion in Open Class Corps, is jumping over to Pacific Crest as their new drill writer. She was part of the team that got the Troopers back into finals in 2022, 23, and 24. Now, this show is called It's in Our Nature. It's in Our Nature.
Got it. Okay.
It's in our nature. Yeah, you get it? Yeah, I think you got it. All right, can you say it again? So this one also features an eclectic array of music. I'm going to mention something in a minute after we talk about this. Ranging from the orchestral music of Verdi, Shostakovich,
right,
to Rihanna.
Okay. Cool.
What do you remember about The Broken Column? I honestly don't remember much, but there was a lot of drum corps to catch, so I'm hoping that you'll have a lot to say.
Yeah, well, I got to say about the Pacific Crest Battery. I have been in the lot with the Pacific Crest Battery a couple of times for a couple of years now, and they have absolutely always stood out to me. Yeah. They just, I don't know, imagine, I always would walk into a lot, but, Pacific Crest just knows how to draw a crowd. It's just, they just have that swag. I don't know, they just have that swag, and people clearly like that. I like it. I've always, even when I'm kind of getting early to a show and I'm in the lot, I'm and I see Pacific Crest, I'm going to go watch Pacific Crest. It's just kind of always been a thing, but I do got to say, their drum line has a lot of swag.
It has to be a California thing.
It is.
Just the ability to just be that way and hold the crowd, it's their aura. Now, they did release their rep list earlier. It might have been last week or whatever, and they mentioned everything. And the Rihanna song, it's B Better Have My Money. What they wrote on there was Better Have My Money, which obviously you weren't going to write B. But one of the writers of B Better Have My Money is Kanye West. Yeah. And I think some people did not like that, so they quickly took that post down. Doesn't mean they're not playing that song anymore. And honestly, I would have just listed Rihanna because we would know that song as being a Rihanna song.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know he was in it.
That's the other thing, right? There's so many producers. He might have actually produced it. But they list their name on all that kind of stuff. I mean, coming from a guy who literally put Kanye West in the field 2 years straight with drum corps stuff, it was before he became who he is today. Unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, but hey, it's Rihanna. I like Rihanna. Do you like Rihanna?
Yeah.
You have a favorite Rihanna song?
Not gonna lie, no. But I respect her.
Oh, man. Umbrella. It's Umbrella. Anyway, who's next? My guess is the Bluecoats.
Troopers.
Close. Troop-a-loop. That's from Old School, right? Doesn't he say Troop-a-loop? No?
Maybe.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. So the Troop, we mentioned them. Lindsay Schuler moving on, which means there's someone else taking their place. Troopers had another strong showing in 2024 with their show Dancing with the Devil. Right. They finished 10th for the second consecutive season and their first 3-time consecutive finals appearance in the 70s. So they'd never made finals 3 times in a row for 30 years.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not 2000. 50 years. Oh my gosh.
2025.
Oh, woo. Gosh. They finished 7th in percussion behind that Lauren Teal-led group. Guard, not their strong point. 12th in color guard in finals. And then they finished anywhere from 7 to 12, varying in their other finals. Now, they had some more active offseason changes with staff, as I mentioned, basically on what we call Black Monday, which is the Monday after DCI finals week. Andy Ebert came on as drill designer. As we mentioned, Lindsay moved to Pacific Crest. They brought on board Molly Favorite-Edrington as the aesthetics designer.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Brennis as the new visual caption head. Justin Ratcliffe as the new audio caption head.
Okay.
Because that's so important nowadays because of all the booms,
It is.
the
It really
lasers,
is.
the smoke machines. So this year they look to cap off the final act of their trilogy of shows, if you will. They're all very Western, shows. The Final Sunset. Can't get any more clear about a show than calling it The Final Sunset, much like Tom Cruise with The Final Reckoning. But was that the last Mission Impossible? I don't think so. Do I think Troopers are really done with this? I don't think so. But maybe they're done with this type of show. But anyway, Dancing with the Devil. Do you remember that last year?
I do.
Yeah. Did you like the lightsaber fight?
I did. That was cool. That was cool.
You know what I liked, and they never did it again? That drum major uniform that was one time in white, right? At the end?
Yeah.
Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, nerds, I think they're like, oh, we're going to play Cadillac of the Skies next summer. I think that's what they said. And then the drum major was in all white. And then it never happened again. Or if it did, it was rare, but it did make it to finals.
Got it.
Anyway, but the lightsaber duel, when they brought in that giant, I don't know, axe sword?
Yeah.
Darth Maul type thing? Anyway.
I do got to say,
Dancing with the Devil.
Dancing with the Devil was definitely one of the shows from the past season that made me sit up in my chair immediately because of I was, again, is the DCI Southwestern.
Yes.
They got on the field and they started playing their pre-sound effects. And then the announcer, instead of doing like the usual, like joining, like they were like, Troopers, is your core ready? Like, they were like, is your core ready or whatever? And
Brant Crocker. That's the name of the announcer. Old guy. Dan Potter usually does San Antonio. Anyway.
Yeah. And he was like, is your core ready? And then I don't know. It's just, they were just going crazy. And the drum major was just sitting there just 1,000-yard stare. And I was like, oh, shoot. And I said, and then
that's what you really said, but it's okay.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Then they laid down. It really, that moment, I think that is really what made a lot of people, it definitely made a lot of people sit up and be like, okay, they're about to go. And I think that's something that's always kind of been with the Troopers. They've always, the past couple of years, that's that's been the vibe. And obviously it's about to be that vibe again. But
yeah, for sure.
To close it all off, maybe.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that pre-show. I think that was incredibly well. There was a new addition to the electronics design last summer, so that was really cool. Drumline has always been very good. Kind of like the highest point of the bottom half if you take the Cavaliers out.
Yeah.
When they can win drums and be 8th place like they did 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a strength. Looking forward to seeing what Andy brings, because Andy is a very successful drill writer in the marching world, whether it's marching band or drum corps with the Crossmen, with the Madison Scouts. A very accomplished visual instructor with Carolina Crown, also Madison Scouts.
I wonder if they're going to use the prop again.
The prop?
The prop.
The
giant spinning thing. I don't know what it's called.
It could be on someone's front yard right now for all we know, as a decorative.
They used it 2 years in a row, maybe 3.
The trilogy.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Maybe they bring it back.
Maybe the white uniform got wrapped up and it was like a
maybe
grinder.
it broke.
Yeah. All right. Who are we talking about next? Probably going to be the Blue Coats because that's what I said last time.
Right.
Or not. I don't know.
Colts.
The Colts of Dubuque, Iowa. Yeah, you remember them? Last year, their second consecutive 9th place finish, tying 2023 for their highest finish since 1995.
Sweet.
30 years ago. Can you imagine? Oh, God, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Getting you here was a bad idea. You're 19? Oh, man, you weren't even alive when most of this stuff. Infields, that was their show last year. A unique portrayal of various fields experienced in life, from battlefields to cornfields to football fields. You ever seen Field of Dreams?
No.
It's an iconic dad-son movie.
Got it. Okay.
But they have a baseball field in Iowa. And they didn't... Anyway, all right.
I was a fan of that show.
Of this show?
Yeah, the field show.
They made no major staff changes. Why didn't they form a baseball... It's fine. Just do the show that I wanted you to do. that. No major staff change. The core is continuing with consistency that the staff has brought them to 3 consecutive finals appearances, the first time since the 90s. So another 30 years ago was the last time they were in finals for 3 straight years. As of recording right now, no shows have been announced yet. Yeah. So I don't know anything. I may have seen their uniforms.
Okay.
You will definitely see the Colts coming down before they're even... You'll see them.
I'm ready for it.
You will see them. So, infield, what you got?
Yeah. One of the first things that I noticed about that show is I just thought it was creative how they altered the yard lines. Mm-hmm. But they did it perfectly. I don't know, it looked like the field was genuinely moving and not actively moving, but they I don't know, they color matched it. Whatever they did.
Sure.
Good job, designers.
Good job.
You did your job. Yeah, it looked good. But they looked real good. And I also liked how they were able to use the dual tone of the uniform to just do different art within the drill, which is always cool whenever
dual tones back again.
Yeah.
But is it the same colors? We'll have to see. They might have already seen it by now. I don't know. Something could have dropped tonight. Yeah, in fields with the Colts of Dubuque, Iowa. I don't predict them not making finals again.
Yep.
So, all right, who we got? We're cruising along. Look at this, man. This is great.
Crown.
Carolina Crown. All right, we have to be very careful because Carolina Crown have some very fervent fans. Is that the right word? Passionate fans.
Yeah,
Stans,
as they should be,
if you will. The Crown folk, the Crownies, if you will. Carolina Crown, lowest placement since 2014 last summer with their show Promethean. And when you say low, it's and they place 5th. It's oh, okay. They place 5th.
Whatever.
Now, strengths still in the brass.
For sure.
But they got 3rd, which is
different.
Color guard finishing 4th. Okay. They did struggle in general effect, finishing a consistent 5th throughout and a lowest 6th in percussion. Now, they did make some changes in their percussion design, percussion instruction. Joe Hobbs, formerly of Vandergrift High School, and the Bluecoats, and then Cliff Walker, formerly of Cavaliers, are now leading the percussion staff and writing for them. Now, the Bluecoats and Cavaliers have won the last 2 percussion, they won 2 of the last percussion awards before Vanguard won last year. Mm-hmm. So definitely a great move. Not to say anything about the team they're replacing, but they've got some great teachers. They've got some great writers moving on there. Old friend of the podcast, Mike Bishop, will be joining the design team, a team of 12 design team members, as we listed that they're showing. The biggest name to join, Wes Cartwright. Do you know that name, Wes Cartwright?
I do not.
Well, every LD Bell show, Broken Arrow show, Mason show, Dobbins Bennett show that you may have enjoyed of the last 20 years.
Got it.
That's him.
Sounds good.
That's him. Now, you could have not told me, at least, that Wes was involved, but I would have known instantly because earlier today, they announced that their show is called The Point of No Return.
Okay.
And features Carl Orff's magnum opus, Carmina Burana, along with Symphony 5, Movement 4 by Gustav Mahler, one of the greatest composers in the world, and The Devil's Staircase by Georgi Ligeti. George Ligeti. George Ligeti. What do you remember about Promethean last summer?
Promethean, for sure, was the big volcano on the field. I believe it to be a volcano of some sort.
Fire.
Yeah. The way my favorite part, when they implement the guard as the lava and they were going, that was really cool to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of taking of fire from the gods, Prometheus, they took the fire from the gods, gave to human. That idea, makes a lot of sense, especially if you're into modern pop culture. Because the year previous we had seen Oppenheimer, which was based off of American Prometheus, the formation of the American bomb, the H bomb, atomic bomb, whatever, had just won the Oscar in February. So very timely for them to do that. Another Crown show is what they brought. This show, based on the uniforms we've seen and based on the music that I've heard,
okay,
you're going to get more of all the Carolina stuff, the Carolina Crown that you know and love. the tongue gymnastics, the strong brass sound, the tone, the B flat major chords. It's a fact. It's a fact. The percussion writing does sound very different. It definitely has all the hallmarks of a Carolina Crown Brass book and show. Visually, very much looks like a Wes Cartwright show. And as someone who has followed marching band and written for and designed and been beaten by many a Wes Cartwright show, this does give me very LD Broken Arrow vibes, meaning LD Bell, Broken Arrow vibes. Broken Arrow played Carmina Burana in 2018, I believe, in one of the shows with the carts that they had. I don't know if you saw that one. And they had a very split, the design is a very split sort of white, silver, black kind of thing with a lot of stuff to it. It's very Wes Cartwright. And it's, based on the imagery, the video that they released, there are some stuff that make you, if you know marching band stuff like I do for the last 25 years or so, very LD Bell crawling on the floor from the remaining, or Broken Arrow, with the gas masks and all this kind of, like, it gives off a very Wes Cartwright vibe, cool, which is incredibly different for the Carolina Crown. Because I'll say it, you don't watch a Carolina Crown show thinking the visual and the storyline is the selling point. It's like the music, it's the brass, it's the arrangement, it's all that stuff. To me, this seems like maybe they are approaching it, at least, the very least, more equal with the visual, because that has been their Achilles heel, as has percussion. So, we all have two Achilles heels. The Crown was percussion and visual. It looks like they have made some changes,
some good changes,
to fix both of those potentially. So, what do you think about this show they got coming up for us?
I'm absolutely excited, especially hearing the more of the equal priority within what the audience is going to see as well. So that's really going to help them a lot, because you're going to be like, dude, Crown Brass, and you're going to be like, dude, look at what they're doing. So I think that's going to be cool and really help them out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they have a giant prop, many giant props in the field. And one of the hallmarks of a Wes Cartwright is the props are larger than life. As big as you can get on BOA field, which are 12 feet. I don't think there's a limit to the size you can do. Think of the Blue Coach chairs in Studio 44. Is that what it was? Session 44. This is very similar in scope. To me, it gave off, there's a tour that U2, the band, did. And I don't remember if it was Elevation, but it was like this giant, I'll put a picture. Yeah. Giant kind of arms and legs, almost very spider-like. This doesn't look like a spider, but you could almost see but it's very big. And it's different than what you would have seen from a Carolina Crown show. So if you're interested to see, if you're not familiar with the Wes Cartwright aesthetic look, go look at some of the championship shows that the Broken Arrow Marching Band did, LD Bell. To a very small extent, William Mason, Dobbins Bennett, but Broken Arrow and LD Bell. Go check those out if you want to see what you can look forward to with Wes Cartwright.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, who do we got next?
Blue Devils.
Oh, man, I definitely need to take a drink for this one. It's Topo Chico. We're not sponsored. You can sponsor us.
Yeah, please.
The Blue Devils. 2024. They were third. Can you believe it? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The lowest placement in 20 years. 2006.
When I read that, I was like, shocked.
Crazy?
Yeah. You don't realize, and you look at it and you're like, dang.
Yeah.
That happened.
It's wild. But it was also their 17th consecutive season in the top three. So they've been, I don't know the last time they were really not good at all. Was it Dance Derby of the that might have been the show, I'm not really sure. But in all their captions, they were top three. They were second in visual performance and in brass. So still a pretty successful season, but when you're the Blue Devils, anything less than the championship is probably not successful, right? I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say that. You probably go expecting. Now, they have not lost 2 consecutive seasons since 2005, 2006. So 20 years.
And they're going to want it.
They're going to want it. As our notes say, they will be hungry and dangerous, which that absolutely makes sense. Like the 2 cores that placed above them last year, the Blue Devils, no major staff changes. I don't know the last time the Blue Devils made any major staff changes to design.
It works.
Why would you? They've had the most intact design and most successful. They're the original Avengers. Why would you mess with any? We don't need new Avengers.
Don't do anything.
Now, when a champion is knocked off the pedestal, and some would say really 1-2 punch, they weren't in second place, they were in third place. This was not a referendum, but it was definitely Okay.
This is different. Yeah.
We'd like something different now. Well, their 2025 show is called Variations on a Gathering, exploring the idea of gathering at all levels from molecular to far grander, which already gives me Everything Changes vibes that the Bluecoats did last year in terms of a title of words that isn't like, The Dark Knight, like
it's like,
that.
Okay,
you could do anything on the field. That works. Yeah. Now, featuring the music of Uninvited by Alanis Morissette. I don't know if you're familiar. It's okay if you're not. From the movie City of Angels. Cashmere by Led Zeppelin. Wait a minute. I did both of those songs. I've done all this. Fuse by Nick. Oh, I'm going to pronounce this one. Omiccioli? Omiccioli?
Omiccioli?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Sounds about right. Music from The Creator, which is a movie, which I saw, which was...
Oh, man, I thought it was Tyler, the Creator. Got me excited.
I would have put Tyler, the Creator. The movie is like a 2.5, 3. Doesn't work. Don't worry about it. And then Interstellar by Hans Zimmer. Now, they've used Hans Zimmer before. A number of years ago, it was the No Time for Caution segment. They put that in. And, of course, original music by arranger Dave Glide. So it does seem like a shift from what they've been doing since 2017.
Yeah.
But they've won basically, they've won 3 non-consecutive years. 4, really? They won in what? 2019 and then 22, 3, 4. So they won. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Not a real 3. But anyway, regardless. So, what do you think? What do you think about their last show they did last year with, God, I don't even remember the name of that show last year. What was it called? The Romantics. Do you remember The Romantics?
Yeah.
I wasn't that big of a fan, personally.
My biggest thing that I did like about it was, although I know it could some of the Blue Devils uniforms, it seems like it kind of gets repetitive sometimes, but I really liked it. I feel especially with they did a good job with the textures. It wasn't doing too much, but you could still tell exactly what it was, which I think is perfect. In a marching uniform. I think at the end of the day, they're still the Blue Devils. They're gonna play their wiggles and then play a really loud note, and then the trumpet screamer is just gonna come back again, and I'm gonna clap every time.
Sure,
but sure. It was good. It was a Blue Devils show, but you could tell that the people and the judges and the community it kind of I could see some people saying that it felt like some of the previous shows with the same style where. Yeah. Sometimes it's oh yeah, we're gonna have trumpets and then euphonic, and then baritones and then tuba, little bum, and then we're gonna play all together again. And right. I think sometimes it just I think people just were ready for something different. Ironically, with a change changes everything. But I don't disregard dude, they're still Blue Devils, I think this next show that they're doing is absolutely cool. When I watched the video last night, I was like, "Yep, this is gonna be." I was like, "It's very Blue Devils, but it's also very cool, obviously." Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to hear what they sound like, especially this year, because I know that they are working hard. So
yeah. For sure. Nobody does media. Nobody does everything the way Blue Devils do. And that doesn't take any away from your Bluecoats, your Bostons. Yeah. But, one of the other things that Jude has always said, I think from Michael Cesario, was what the Blue Devils do, everything seems touched by design, if you've ever heard that saying. The videos that they put out, the posters, the pictures, the shirts, everything. A lot of it does have nothing to do with the score, but it does set up a level of expectation and professionalism that you're going to see and hear from the Blue Devils. The Blue Devils, to me, have always been, at least these last number of years, kind of, if I said the Bluecoats are an art installation, one that you walk through and interact with, right. The Blue Devils you're walking to the Louvre and they're there. They're in a museum. It's a work of art. And sometimes it may not grab you emotionally like an art installation may. Other times you may see...
But it's still art.
Yeah. You may see a picture. You may see a sculpture. You may see something that moves you in a way. And I think that based on what I've been able to see and hear and look at from this has the potential to grab you a little bit more emotionally, which to me hasn't been something. The Blue Devils wow you with sophistication and all that stuff and execution. And the Bluecoats will do that to you, and then they'll grab you a little bit more. I think the Blue Devils might have learned a little okay, we need to maybe a little bit more
especially like now that I was looking at the music, like with Interstellar, like I absolutely that totally makes sense. I feel like that's going to be a really big emotional moment.
Looking forward to it. They're not the only group playing some Interstellar, but
that's cool.
Let's see who we have next. Maybe that's the group we're talking about next. So I wrote X-Man.
X-Man.
Because it's Crossman.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
They abbreviated to X-Men, but I have taken to say X-Man because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. The Crossman. The X-Man. They finished 2024 in 15th place with their show Lush Life. They did finish as high as 13th in brass. Most of their other captions were 15th through 16th. Coming into this year, another jazz-oriented show. So you already know how I'm going to feel about this.
I love it.
Yeah, well, okay. Well,
I know you don't, but...
Titled Crosswalking, like a crosswalk.
Yeah.
Featuring music by Burt Bacharach. Is it Louis Fulton? You would know. Come on, Jazzer. Jazzy Jazzer. It's under the Crossman notes. Louis Fulton. Charles Mingus. I know that name. That's a jazz name. Dave Brubeck. Another jazz name. I only know Take 5. Oliver Nelson. Not really certain on that one. Sergei Rachmaninoff. I imagine they're going to play the piano concerto that goes into All By Myself. And then Caleb Sean McCampbell. Not familiar with a majority of these names, but that's because they're probably jazz people. Joining the percussion team this year, Jacob Gall is the new percussion caption manager. Ben Cato is the assistant caption manager. Andy Ferschler, pardon me, as the front ensemble coordinator. So crosswalking. What are you thinking?
I'm definitely a fan. I think it could have been cool with crosswalking to do like. Especially with the jazz, they could have done something like with the Beatles, with the famous picture walking across the crosswalk.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I just thought of that. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. But whatever, doesn't matter.
Maybe they thought about it, but like, oh, the Blue Coats just did 2 years of anyway. But yeah, whatever. Maybe that's a surprise.
Who knows? Yeah, but I've always been a fan of jazz shows, and I mean, I really liked last year's and all the rep they did, and I'm really excited to see what they do again. Yeah,
we'll watch it.
Yeah.
And do my best to enjoy a show about jazz after I said almost an hour ago that I'm just not a jazz fan.
That's fine.
I'm just not a jazz fan. But, more power to the Crossmen of San Antonio, Texas, playing jazz. Who we got next? Oh, it's exciting.
Blue Stars.
Blue Stars. The Blue Stars leapt 3 spots last summer in 2024 to 8th place with their show Universal. An especially strong brass section, Color Guard led the way in 7th place, with GE and visual performance in 8th place. Not bad. Percussion section finished 11th, a weaker caption for them for sure. However, Andrew Markworth, very successful arranger in the marching arts, whether it's the spring or the winter and the summer, will now be taking a new role as percussion designer and arranger. He was previously as a music ensemble consultant, so you will now hear his voice in the percussion. As of right now, there has not been a show announced.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, but I don't expect them not to make finals, and I don't expect them not to be in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. I was a big fan of last year's show. I was a big fan of them playing SZA. That was really cool.
Because you're young and cool. I'm not young, but I'm cool.
Yeah.
I like SZA.
Yeah, Blue Stars. I mean, they were definitely one of my favorites from last year. I just got to say, like, it was just like you watch them, like, dude, this is a fun show to watch. Like, you go to have a giant prop of Saturn, and like they had lots of great soloists, and it was just overall really cool. So,
did they have other planets out there?
Maybe.
You know what their names were?
Nope.
Okay. My very educated mother. You know the where you get the set. No, it's fine.
Okay,
it's fine. Go ahead. My very educated mother just ordered 9 pizzas. Except I don't think they have Pluto anymore, right? It's not a planet. I don't know.
The Blue Coats.
The Blue Coats. The Blue Coats. Oh, hey, they had their most successful season ever.
Yes,
I mean,
they did.
They won.
Yep.
It's their first undefeated season. Their highest score ever with a 98.75. This is their second championship. They won general effect, visual performance, brass. They were second in color guard, third in percussion. The show was changes everything, which, this writer says it. I don't disagree. A new gold standard for the Blue Coats.
It was.
The show, well, we don't know much about this year's show. We do know that it's a mixture of minimalist music by Steve Reich, Alfonso Peduto, I'm assuming, a jazzy, rocky ballad by M83. That's a band that we know. And then more music by Son Lux, including original music written for the core, which is an arrangement they had reached like a couple years ago where Son Lux, they would use Son Lux and he's come in and Ryan Lott's come in and talked and all that kind of stuff. So, without knowing anything about what they're doing, we have to assume it's another boundary-pushing, exciting show. They have made very little changes, if none, to the design team. They don't need. They've put it together. They've created some really, really exciting shows. Changes everything. What'd you think,
dude? Dude, no, I absolutely loved Changes Everything. It is, it's definitely up there with some of my favorite shows. I just thought. And it may, like, I don't know, like, I'm that's one thing about me. I'm very indecisive of what my favorite is, but, like, that also is a really big contender because that really, dude, I mean, it's all ironic. Like, it changed my perspective about, like, like, what marching band can be, which I think is kind of become the new, like, standard of the Bluecoats of, like, we're going to make them think more about what marching band can be. Like, something as simple as their, like, foil flag feature where it was dead silent and they were featuring the flag and the sound of the flag. I would have never thought of that. And that, like, that's one of the many things that they added to that show that I really just enjoyed. And I'm so excited to see what they keep doing with this. And
for sure. I've seen something. But it's not. It's a still image, so I get nothing. I get nothing out of what it's going to be, what it could be. What I will not share. Don't leave comments like, "Hey, where do you get?" Because all last year I go, "I've seen this." Well, where's that video? It's like, do you think that these videos are public? Do you think that I'm not just sent these things? You can send them my way, by the way. I love last year's show. The first time I heard it before it was even made public, I was like, they're going to win. And there was no question in my mind they were going to win because it was so different and so new and so exciting. And they were so good right out of the gate. I have said, and this is all drum corps history, that, I think the crowd does play a part in willing a group to win.
It does.
I don't think Phantom Regiment wins with Spartacus without the audience. Blue Devils had the better show design than Spartacus, but just the trajectory that Phantom Regiment went on those during that finals week. And having to stand in the tunnel, if you're the Blue Devils, and hearing the crowd just go bananas for Phantom at finals night.
They're standing up, and there's a minute left in the show.
And then they have to come out and perform. So I think that was a reason why the Phantom won. I think that was a reason why Crown won with E equals MC squared. I think that maybe the percussion was going to hold them back a lot more than they did. It didn't. They won. They won their championship. I think the crowd tried to will Inferno into winning, but the better show ended up winning that year. And I think last year, just the way that the Bluecoats was doing their show, they didn't need the help.
No,
but the audience was so into it.
The audience were still there.
Yeah, and it was, the Son Lux stuff, which, were you in the band when Leander did Lost It to Trying?
No, that was 2015.
Oh, geez.
Third grade.
I have no concept of time. They did it. I think the person who wrote these notes, his band did Lost It to Trying last year. I wrote Lost It for Trying for a band this year. That's going to do it. I'm sure we will hear hundreds of bands do that song. It's a cool song, but the way that they started and ended that show with the Son Lux stuff and just very smart. So if they're playing more Son Lux with an artist who's been working with the group
and original music,
that's different. I think we will see and hear a more successful collaboration than maybe another group did last summer when they worked with a composer. It's Crown and John Mackey. I don't think that collaboration did what they thought it was going to do. They got fifth, so it's not bad.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
I'm curious how it works. Like maybe he writes the song and then they arrange it. Well, I don't think he's arranging it.
Mike Scott comments on like Twitter and Reddit. He's the core director.
Yeah.
And I think what someone said is he just writing the song.
Yeah.
And then the Bluecoats will then do what they do. And I think he said, yes, it's similar to that.
He's not
writing brass parts.
Yeah,
and, that kind of thing.
You can't just do that.
But I think it's the idea of we want to call the show whatever the show is called. And this is what we'd like, something like this. Yeah. And then he writes the piece, and then Doug Thrower takes it and just like goes crazy with it. So
absolutely.
Very excited. I think this has the potential to be another just awe-inspiring show. Whether it wins or not remains to be seen. But I would not count them out for contention. So, yeah. All right, who's up next?
Shoot. Scouts.
The Madison Scouts of Madison, Wisconsin. Now, last season saw their triumphant return to finals the first time since 2017 with their show Mosaic. They were pretty much 11th and 12th in all captions. One of their most balanced and high-achieving cores in 7 or 8 years. I think, was it Last Man Standing was the show they made finals at when they all shaved their heads. And then I don't think they made finals the year after, if I can remember that correctly on there. The only change they made was Ryan Ellis was the battery arranger. He had been arranging since would have been 2020. Okay. But 2021, they do head pretty much into the season with the same overall design team. I think James Sparling from Rouse High School is writing for them. I should know this, but I believe that's what it is. They did release their show stuff very early. I don't know if it was them or Troopers who released. I think Troopers releases their show stuff like Sunday night.
Yeah, like we knew it immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Their show is The Nature of Being. The Nature of Being. Music features music from Satie. Bucimis, Bucimis. Crown did this piece a number of years ago.
Okay.
They're using Pyramid Song by Radiohead, I Remember, and Britney Spears' Toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember last year's show, Mosaic?
I do. I keep talking about the uniforms, but I mean, that's one of the things that I really enjoy is seeing like everybody, what they do with their uniforms, and I really liked it. I know like it was a bit like the uniform itself was a little controversial.
Yeah.
So I've heard, but like, I did like that. Like you can tell, like they took a risk with it, and in my opinion, it worked. I really liked it, and getting to see them, I'm like, I saw them warming up in the lot at finals, and like you look at them like damn, like that's a cool uniform, you know. But I did like how supportive the crowd was, especially when they announced them at finals, and they got a standing ovation immediately before they even started. So I definitely do think that helped boost their performance even more, as you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Many people say DCI is good, Drum Corps is good when the Madison Scouts are good, and Madison Scouts are a crowd favorite. They have been for decades and decades and decades. Also, the fact that they went all gender inclusive for what would have been 2020, that definitely played into their favor. No comments about any other group, but people were very excited about that. And being a part of that transitional team those few years was definitely a lot of fun for us working with them. And my favorite drum corps, and I'm so glad that they made it back in, Scott Borma, DCI, now an official DCR Hall of Famer. I'd been wondering for years why they never got him in. He is the Madison Scouts to me. He is what they sound like. Scott Borma is the Scouts. The Scouts are Scott Borma. And I'm really excited to see to hear how they put this stuff together, because, last year was a Madison Scout show, similar to what I was saying about the Spartans when they did that show in 2019, similar to what we did in 21 with the Madison Scouts during the COVID year. They utilize the Madison Scouts. People say, they use like Latin music. Well, it's not necessarily Latin music. They utilize the Phrygian scale, the Gypsy scale, to use a very outdated term. It's that music like Uninvited by Alanis Morissette, like Kashmir. It has what we in America associate with Middle Eastern or Spanish type music. Right. And Toxic, the were you in that band? No, you weren't in that band.
2019.
Jeez.
Seventh grade.
I'm getting closer.
We're getting close.
Eventually we'll get into that. Pyramid Song has a little bit of chromaticism and modality. It's more about modes than I'm super being nerdy. But regardless, I'm excited to see. We'll find out how I think they're going to place when we get to my predictions. But if they're my favorite drum corps, that should give you a spoiler alert. So, all right, who's next? Who do we got left? We still have a lot. Man,
yeah, we got it.
Man, come on. You talk so much, Aiden. Boston Crusaders. I'm shipping off to Boston. Am I? Yeah. Well, like the Bluecoats, Boston capped off their most successful season, finishing an outright second. They weren't just tied for second, they finished in second with their highest score ever, 97.413. They had tied for second in 2022. They won their fourth Color Guard Caption Award and finished an incredibly narrow second in percussion in 2022, along with second place finishes at GE and Brass with their show Glitch. Their show Glitch, which was a noticeably new direction thematically for them. It wasn't they weren't always doing biblical stories, but they did
Yeah.
the Sea show, they did the Goliath show.
It was a certain vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was closer to like the Zoom show that they did during the COVID year. Well, this year it seems to be something similar to Glitch and Zoom with their show.
I'm a fan.
Boom. Yeah. That's right. Boom. Exploring the tensions and excitement of the mid-20th century nuclear age. That's right. Nuclear, not nuclear. That's a W-ism. It's fine. You don't worry about it. With an eclectic repertoire of music, with the experimental jazz. Here we go again. Jazz. I'll give it a listen. Armenian composer, Tigran Hamasyan. Movie scores of Hans Zimmer. Interstellar. They're using Interstellar. The pun. I'm going to read it. They appear to be planning an explosive show. Way to go, Landry. So like the Bluecoats, Boston has no major staff changes. So consistency is key.
They don't need it.
What do you remember about Glitch?
I thought the use of the lights they did, that was really cool. And I remember like when I first saw it, like I was stressed out just logistically. Like I was like, dude, how do you even like plan that? But they did, and they pulled it off. I thought Glitch was, dude, like it was great. It's such like, I like sometimes like I just like those shows where it's like this is what it is, and like we're gonna like play the hell out of it, and they did. And I don't know, I really liked how they took the word glitch and they turned it into like radio channels, and they kind of just and it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing again with Boom. I'm a big fan of like that. I hope they use like sort of or it looks like they are, based off their show reveal, like that sort of aesthetic from like it almost kind of looks like a comic strip, but not really. But I don't know, I'm a fan of what they're doing. I think this is a cool new identity for Boston Crusaders.
It is very timely because the Fantastic Four movie's coming out this summer, which is an alternate reality. If you're nerd out real quick, alternate reality, alternate Earth rather, and it's more of that retro futuristic look, like the Jetsons, where they made a show in the 70s. What do they think the future is going to look like, right?
Yeah.
And so it's that I would be curious if that's the aesthetic they're going for, that
I'm
very
hoping so.
50s retro future modern look of it. Interstellar, I've heard what they're doing, and it sounds like it's from No Time for Caution again. Spoiler alert. They sound, for me, and this is nothing against Blue Devils or Bluecoats or Carolina Crown. Top to bottom, I think Boston Crusaders had the strongest performing drum corps over the last few years. Obviously, the captions prove that with the percussion almost winning, with the color guard winning 4th place, the brass almost winning. Like, I feel like
across the board.
They are. And you could point to different of the other corps in the top 4. There's some weaknesses, like, Crown's weakness was percussion. Bluecoats, they won percussion, but maybe this, To
There's
me,
maybe it's like, okay, like
Boston is the most stable. They just need the vehicle that's going to put them over the top. And I'm not saying this isn't the vehicle. I'm not saying it is the vehicle.
Yeah.
But they've got the Ferrari. And they've got how many gears Ferraris have? We'll say 8.
Sure.
Let's put them in 8th gear and push it pedal to the metal. I know that's the wrong show. That was Zoom, but it still works. But you know what? I'm interested because they have a very old school vibe, aggression to them, with the way Ryan George arranges, being a former cadet and Blue Devil back in the 90s, or probably the 90s. I think we're the same ages. With Leon May writing for Carolina Crown, writing for tons of great marching bands, writing for Boston Crusaders. Colin McNutt writing for the Boston Crusaders, formerly of the Cadets. Like, there's just a lot of East drum corps vibe to them, obviously, because they're in the Northeast. So, I'm always very optimistic and hopeful that they're going to just I loved so many of their shows pre-COVID. We'll just say pre-COVID.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody changes their designs. It hasn't been my cup of tea. My favorite show since COVID was Zoom, like the COVID show. To me, because they took giant swings with those screens. They had the wrapper. Like, they did all kinds. To me, that was my favorite of the last few years. Maybe just changing one letter will make Boom my favorite show. So we'll see. So blow me away, Boston. All right, what's that? You see, because the show's called Boom.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Music City.
It's funnier if I explain the joke. Shout out, Damien. Music City. Forgive me, I was going to say something else, but no, it's called Music City because I judge indoor drumline, and there's usually another word that follows, but that's not the case. Now, they have placed 17th for the last 3 seasons, like just pretty consistent, which ties 22-23 for their highest ever placement. Their show was called Leave It at the River.
Yes.
There's a few changes. Shane Gwaltney of Music City Mystique fame has expanded his role as the Battery Arranger. He was just the program coordinator, so now he's writing for the Battery. So this is a big advantage for them because he is one of the amazing designers and arrangers in the activity. Brian Tinkle joined Music City as their new percussion director and ensemble coordinator. Extremely talented instructor. Tom, forgive me, Lukovitz will transition to being the core brass arranger. I can't remember who arranged the last few years, but this transition, so that must mean that Tom has been on staff. CJ Barrow expands his role as music coordinator and front ensemble arranger, and now Nate Morris will be joining the team as a design consultant. We have not seen any repertoire announced. We just know the show is called The Bell Tolls for Thee. Probably a very dark and exciting production. Yeah. So Music City, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm absolutely hype. I always like a good dark show that really gets you engaged. Obviously, you don't really know a lot, but yeah, I'm excited to see it for sure.
Yeah, this activity gets smaller and smaller every year. Yeah. And I think Music City is the only world-class group. Forgive me if sort of in that general area. There are a bunch of open class scores, but we've lost Southwind. We've lost Louisiana Stars. We do have Memphis Blues, which is an upstart. They're an open class drum corps. There's Heat Wave out in Florida, but they're an open class drum corps. So, Music City is kind of, and if I forgot somebody, forgive me. Oh, Spirit of Atlanta. So Music City in Tennessee, Spirit of Atlanta in Georgia. It's a fun opportunity for these kids in those areas because band is a hotbed in the South, in the state of Georgia. Your pockets in Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, obviously. So you have your Crown, you have your Spirit of Atlanta, you have your Music City. So very exciting to see how they come up, what they were able to produce, especially with Shane now leading the way, battery arranging and program coordinating. Because if you've seen his shows at Music City Mystique, you know that man can design and can go pretty crazy. So I'm super excited for the Music City out of Nash Vegas, I believe. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is going to be Genesis.
Blue Knights.
Blue Knights. Close. I was close. You're right. I was very close. I can see why people would confuse Blue Knights and Genesis. Blue Knights finished the 2024 season in 14th with their street performance-inspired show, Busk. Busk has had a different meaning last year, right? You're young. Buskin? Bussin'? Was it bussin'?
Bussin', yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Well, that's all right. So I'm not old. 13th or 14th in most captions. Going into this year, they've had some of the more active staff shuffles. The new staff ensemble coordinator, Ronnie Pruitt, formerly of the Austin area. Felix Cruz III is the new brass caption head. Taha Ahmed is the new percussion caption supervisor coming over from Mandarins. Andre Edwards is the new battery coordinator, also coming over from the Mandarins. Dominique, this is a Cajun name, Lestow III.
Okay.
There's a nickname. Chochi? Lestow III is the new front ensemble coordinator.
Cool.
They just announced their title. Last year was Busk. This year is Drip, featuring music by Ms. Bronx, Alan Silvestri of Forrest Gump fame and the Avengers, Back to the Future, Tyla, all right,
okay,
and then some original music. Their arrangers are Leslie. Oh my God, forgive me, I can't remember his last name. And then Jeff Osdemore is the percussion arranger. So, I cannot believe I can't remember Leslie's last name. I follow on Facebook. I'm a big fan of his posts. Maybe he's a fan of mine. Probably not that I can't remember his last name at this point. But all right, so Busk, Drip. Now, Drip. I know the meaning. Drip is still current, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, look at that drip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that on a daily basis. What you think? Busk, Drip, the Blue Knights.
I'm assuming it's a water show? Maybe?
Based on the imagery, I think it's probably layers to it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Variations
on water? I don't know about that. But, all right. So they actually unveiled their uniforms 2 hours ago.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'll post some pictures so it doesn't look like we're just looking at this. So we have
I see.
Some Hot Wheel-like ramps, maybe 360.
Maybe an ocean wave?
Oh, see, I wouldn't have thought that, but that's why you're here to tell me. Looks like the core proper is in some, I'll put pictures on here, you'll see it, orange and blue.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah. All right. Color guard, similar watery based. Yeah. Oh. We were only seeing one angle of this prop. We'll put the other picture on there.
Okay.
It looks like the smokestacks from the Titanic, but that
looks cool. I like
that
the
could be
colors.
what it is.
Like I like the orange and blue. That always goes well.
I do too. You know, I will be excited to see how they develop the word drip. Leslie Gilreath. Forgive me, Leslie.
There you go.
Boom, zoom, glitch, drip, busk.
Yeah.
Next year, hey, spoiler alert, next year's is fit. I'll let you figure out. It's like, hey, nice fit. Drip and whatever. Yeah. Is it just water? How are they going to take it and go? You know, based on the people they have involved with the design, I'm sure there are multiple
not just
layers.
water.
It's not just
Yeah.
like drip, drip, drip. You know, there's more to it. Y'all did a water show.
We did.
What was it
Ripple.
called?
It's called Ripple.
Ripple. I was close. All right. I was going to say dribble.
Dribble.
So you could be a basketball
Basketball.
show and like dribbling water. It's fine.
For sure.
Who's next?
Genesis.
I was close. I'm always one off. Genesis from the great state of Texas finished last year in 22nd place with their show Signal. They've been pretty consistent, 20 to 22nd in all their captions. This year they're welcoming Edward Goebel as their new core director, replacing, I cannot think of his name because he moved on to take over the SMU marching band. So this is the third director they've had, maybe in history, not really certain. This year's show is called Kaleidoscope Heart and features music by Eric Hosman's favorite, Sarah Bareilles, Rogers and Hammerstein. I'm sure your dad knows that one. Oh boy. How do you say it?
Chapel Roan.
It's Chapel Roan. Ariana Grande and Leslie Bricusse. Now, the Leslie Bricusse is their core song. Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, whatever the first movie was. That's their core song, so I imagine they put that because they always put it in there. But Ariana, very popular. Chapel Roan, very popular. What do we think? What do we think about this?
I think that their music selection is smart. Especially as a upcoming core. And one of the biggest things that a lot of people, and I assume a lot of people realize, and maybe some people don't realize, is a lot of like the crowd favorite just comes from those Instagram clipping accounts and all those band pages and
all the bakeries,
but I think it's important, especially like you saw it like in the Blue Devils with the cutouts where they did a bunch of Pokemon appearing to the youth, and they had that one Pokemon song, and it was all over every social media, and everyone was reposting it. And I think this is smart, especially like trying to get that, like whenever they announce Genesis, you want the audience to be like, oh shoot, I saw some clips about this, and or all the high schoolers coming to the regionals and the super regionals and all of that, going Chapel Roan, like Ariana Grande, like that's gonna get their attention. I think that's really important, especially with keeping drum corps like alive,
for sure,
getting the youth involved. But
yeah, their coordinator, former director, I think he's just executive director now, Chris McGonigal, said something either last year or the year before that they've made a conscious effort to be entertaining, to be about the show. They want to be competitive. They want to do that, but I think that they realize that maybe there's some disadvantages or advantages that other groups have that they don't. They're like, you know what if we just become the most crowd entertaining drum corps?
And like you go on TikTok or Instagram and you see Genesis and you scroll and you see, and I think it's very important and it's smart. It's honestly really smart to do. So yeah.
And if I was Genesis and I was coordinating for this is a free idea. For their sound check, it would be the Sega sound that plays when you start the Sega Genesis. I realize you don't get it. It's fine.
That one?
Yeah. But that was like Nintendo days. Yeah. That's what I would do. But it's real inside baseball. But that's fine. All right. Okay. Cool. You can use that for free, Chris.
It's on the house. Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers. My second favorite drum corps, because my brother marched them. True story, my brother was going to march a different drum corps. I won't mention their name, but at the time they were not doing very well. And I said, do you want to almost make finals or do you want to like almost win? So they went to Cavaliers and he won 2 years straight. All right. Cool. Beneath the Armor was the Cavaliers' lowest finish since 1982.
Damn.
I was 4. Your dad was probably 3 or 4 as well.
Yeah.
They finished as high as 8th in percussion, but as low as 12th in general effects. So, looking to improve, they made some changes, a lot of active shakeups. Any one of these changes that I'm going to mention, some of these names, would be enough to shake some cages. But the fact that all of these names put together is just crazy. Pete Weber is now the drill writer for the Cavaliers. Pete Weber has written for the Vanguard, written for Madison Scouts, written for Glassman, a very accomplished, amazing drill writer, a good friend, humble brag. Many have said he's the heir apparent to Michael Gaines because he marched the Cavaliers, was a drum major for the Cavaliers, has a style similar to Michael Gaines, but with his own spin on it. Adding Pete to just doing the drill takes you up 1 or 2 spots.
Absolutely.
But then they added Kevin Shaw to the music design team. And there's one other name I'm going to mention in a sec for music. Kevin Shaw was with Carolina Crown last year, is with Broken City out on the West Coast, a very accomplished composer and arranger. Will bring a completely different sound idea to the percussion voice. Rick Subel, who has won with Paramount in WGI, world-class independent guard, was recently with the Carolina Crown in some of their more successful shows, helping out Phantom Regiment last year. But the coup d'etat, the coup de grace, the free agent, the most hyped free agent available, Cadets legend Jay Bocook is now the new brass arranger for the Cavaliers. They have not mentioned anything about their show. I have heard the title. I'm not going to share it because that's a little too inside baseball.
Yep.
I have, however, heard many minutes of their show. And folks, if you've been praying for the Cavaliers' demise, you will be severely disappointed. We will talk more about what I think they're going to do this year, but holy cow, you talk about the swagger of the Blue Devils coming back from not winning.
Yeah.
I think the Cavaliers, they have their own swagger. They're marching, what's that bicycle step again? They brought it back. They're marching the style that the Cavaliers have been known to march.
Sweet.
They sound like the Cadets because it's Jay Bocook's voice. But you put that together with Kevin Shaw, Pete Weber's drill, Rick Subel, all this stuff, like, people are going to be very excited about the Cavaliers. Remember, what do we got? Beneath the Armor, this year's show. What do you got? You excited?
Yeah, I am. I'm absolutely excited. Especially what you all just said.
It's true.
I think that the one thing that the Cavaliers, like, they need most is, like, to get that, to get it back, you know? And it sounds like they are.
That's how they got their swagger back.
Yeah, they're getting their swagger back. I'm very excited to see it. The changes all seem very promising, and I think it sounds like the Cavaliers are going to turn some heads.
When you first hear them, based on what I heard, I don't know if it's the beginning of the show, it sounded like it. You don't think it's the Cavaliers because it's Kevin Shaw's voice percussively.
Right.
And then when the brass comes in, you're like, that's Jay Bocook. Because nobody writes endings or climaxes or any of these things like Jay Bocook. Everyone has their style, right? Their isms. Jay Bocook's on my Mount Rushmore of DCI arrangers. Nice. No question. One day I'll talk about all 4 of them. But, man, it's exciting. DCI's fun when the Cavaliers are good. I've always loved when Saucedo was tearing it up in the early 2000s. Some of those Michael Martin shows were just like, aggressive and great. And I think Jay and Kevin are harnessing, the 4 elements or whatever, whatever anime kind of thing. It's going to be amazing. So, all right. Oh, we're getting down to the last 2. Well, we haven't talked about
Phantom Regiment.
Phantom. You know what? For my money, no one says Phantom Regiment better than Dan Potter.
True.
Yeah, it's a definite true. Post-COVID-19 Phantom Regiment, completely different Phantom Regiment. They were 12th in 2019. They almost didn't make finals, but Spirit of Atlanta, they kind of just lost the momentum at the end. They couldn't overtake them, even though Spirit of Atlanta did beat the Phantom Regiment earlier in the season. There was some fear in Rosemont. 2024 was their highest placement since 2012, and their first time in the top half of finals since 2016. They finished no lower than 5th in any caption. So this past summer was their strongest finish season across the board, mined with a Y. Consistent fan favorite with their Moonlight Sonata reprise in the closer. A lot of people loved that. An enthusiastic crowd reaction. Nothing about their 2025 show yet's been announced.
Yep.
I have not seen or heard anything. Of all the leaks that have managed to get out, the Phantom Regiment, they've closed the gates. I know nothing. I've heard nothing. No major staff changes, so consistency. What do you think about the old regiment of Phantoms?
I mean, as I probably think of them as similar to everyone else. But dude, yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I want to see Phantom Regiment like continue to rise in placement. I feel like that would be just so cool to see. But one of my like favorite, like my most, it's one of like probably going to be one of my core memories is Phantom Regiment at finals last year, which like,
how would you spell core?
What?
How would you spell core?
How would I spell core?
Yeah.
CORPS.
But you said it's one of my core memories. So it'd be that was it was a trick question.
Oh.
It's fine. Anyway, continue. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
When they started the closer and we got about like, you could tell like the audience was like practically shaking in their seats. And basically like we got down, there was about like a minute left of the show, like a whole minute, and the entire audience was on their feet. And it was the like that last hit where the mellows, like they're pointing their horns and just playing music to God, I guess, but they're way up there, and it was like the loudest I had ever, like it was the, not necessarily, like of course the brass was loud, but the stadium and the audience, like that was the one of the loudest environments like in a stadium that I had been in possibly ever, or at least in a long time. What, in such like a marching band setting, like you just don't hear that often. But Phantom Regiment, like it was just like nuts throughout the board. It was awesome. Like I
don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I'm gonna. You ever seen Anchorman?
I have not.
Either of the Anchormans?
I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, they're comedies. They're seminal comedies. But one of the scenes that they do in both movies is they do a fight between the different news station anchors. Like it would be CNN versus Fox News versus MSN, regardless. If there was a four-way battle between fans, who would win? The Bluecoats fans, the Carolina Crown fans, the Phantom Regiment fans, or the Madison Scouts fans?
Crown.
Why? Why would you say Crown?
I don't know.
I don't have any. I'm just curious.
All right. So what were the options? What are the options? So
Crown, Bluecoats,
Phantom,
Scouts,
and just like fighting.
Sure. However, I mean, if it's a battle, because those four to me have the most like Stanish type fans. You know, I would say the Crown fans are traditionally more high school kids. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, they're from South Carolina. Bluecoats from Ohio. Madison and Madison, Wisconsin. What was the other one I forgot? Phantom Regiment and Rosemont. You know what? Rosemont's not that far from Chicago.
Phantom Regiment might just beat them in numbers. There's just more. I don't know. But
I'm going to go with Phantom Regiment.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see, like, I could see Madison Scouts as well a little bit, because they're just, like, it's the fan base is definitely older just because of their...
And if we're being really honest, the vast majority of the alumni are all male. And this isn't a male versus female thing, but they're all male, so they're all 70. But yeah,
old.
You know, I bet this is what I would do. This is a weird tangent, but if I was Madison, Phantom, and Bluecoats, I would just go call all the mothers of the Carolina Crown fans. They would have to pick them up, so Carolina Crown's out of the battle. Then it becomes Bluecoats, Phantom, and Madison. I think it comes down to Phantom and Madison. I think that's what. Yeah,
they would
Phantom
win.
wins. All right, Phantom wins. All right, last one. I think we're going to the Pacific Northwest, right? I think that's the last one.
Seattle Cascades?
Seattle Cascades. Let us know in the comment section down below, who do you think would win in a battle between the fans of Carolina Crown, Phantom Regiment, Madison Scouts, or Bluecoats? And if I've offended you, Carolina Crown fans, have your parents email me. All right, Seattle Cascades finished their 2024 season. Their highest placements 2016. Their highest score since 2007. With their show, Sky Above Home Was Always Waiting for You. A very WGI type, title. Almost a very Wes Cartwright type. Featured a very cool lighthouse prop that, when rotated, turned into a telescope. At the end, Sky Above Home Was Always Waiting for You. Now, they were consistently 22nd through 25 in all their captions and semifinals. No major stat changes. So that provides some stability and consistency as we move into 2025. Their show, Primary, explores fundamental emotions, colors, shapes, and instincts, featuring the music of Coldplay. I'm not a fan of Coldplay. It's Chris Martin's voice. BTS. All right. Okay. Speaking of the kids, Selena Gomez.
More. Yeah.
Camilo Lara.
Got nothing.
We'll go with that. Oh boy. Sidou. Sydou.
Saido.
Surely we've covered that one. And then Kikau.
Sorry.
We're Americans here, we're ignorant Americans. That was not a knock on it. We just don't know all these other languages. Okay, primary forms, primary colors. Coldplay doesn't excite me, but it excites me that it's pop music. BTS, one of the world's most famous bands.
Yeah, I mean,
Selena Gomez.
I think they're doing the same thing as some of the other cores of just trying to trying to appeal to the youth.
And appeal, I suppose.
Appeal to the youth.
You know,
Yeah. I'm curious. I think primary, like you said, like that has lots of potential. It could be whatever they want it to be, which is also kind of nice for a designer, like where you have the power to kind of just do what you want, which is always nice.
Like He-Man, I have the power. It's fine. It's fine. Wow. Woo! We talked about all the world-class cores, and some of it we didn't even know anything. And we just like, who would win in a fight? See, that's what's. I think that's going to be the thing that's going to get me the most in trouble. I think. But again, if I challenged you at 10 p.m., most of you would have to be at home, Crown fans, in bed because you have school the next morning. All right, let's move on to this summer. All right, well, we've been on this summer. Let's move on to this summer's thoughts, predictions of sort. Now, you may have a different point of view.
I'm going to let you take. I'm going to let you go with that.
But so the last year I did predictions. I'm going to tell you what I predicted
of those predictions,
and then I'm going to tell you how it came out. Oh, you were? That's very nice of you. Very kind of you. I got 11 of 12 finalists. Ironically enough, I did not get the Madison Scouts pick right. I picked blue to win, and guess who won? The Bluecoats.
Yeah.
I picked BD in second. It was Boston. I picked Boston in third. It was BD. Had the top three right. I picked Crown in fourth, but it was a Regiment in fourth.
Yeah.
Then Regiment, I picked them fifth, but it was Crown in fifth. I was happy about that. I liked Regiment's show more than I liked
You
Crown
got the
Show's last
idea.
year. Yeah,
You got the general
I'm
idea.
I'm pretty good. I nailed Santa Clara in sixth. It was a comeback year. That one was just,
It was expected.
Mandarins, I nailed them in seventh also. All right. I put Troop in eighth. They did not. The Blue Stars were eighth. I said
Which was
Cabbies.
deserved, yeah.
Yeah. Cavaliers in ninth. It was the Colts in ninth for the second year in a row. I said Blue Stars in 10th. It was the Troop in 10th again. I put Colts in 11th, but it was Cavaliers. And Mea Culpa, I put Pacific Quest in 12th. They got 13th, but it was the Madison Scouts who took hold of that last spot and held on to it basically from San Antonio to the end of the year. So they
made it, though.
They did. Very excited. So we now move on to my 2025 predictions.
Shoot, okay.
All right. So how would you like me to do this? Top to bottom, bottom to top?
We'll do bottom to top. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, here we go. 12th place. Your Madison Scouts. I think they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
I think they're back in finals.
Okay.
I know you might go like, oh, you didn't think them higher. 12th place. 11th, the Colts. That's right. I have them moving down from 9th to 11th. But that's okay. That's okay. And you'll know why when I get to this. 10th, the Blue Stars.
Okay.
The Blue Stars. I have them moving down as well because I got to make room for someone else. 9th, I have the Troopers moving up. I think the addition of Andy Ebert gets them up at least another spot. The problem is that you are now entering 8 powerhouse drum corps. So who do you knock off? Here's maybe my most controversial pick. In 8th place, apologies to your father, the Santa Clara Vanguard. I think the Vanguard are going to be beat out by the other 7 corps, especially the Cavaliers in 7th place. To go from 11th to 7th,
that's big.
I think, and I'm just going to expand it, Jay Bocook, Pete Weber get you 3 spots just by having them. Will they be able to have the talent, though, and with such a limited audience to pull from? It's all male still. So you've cut out 51% of the population that can audition for you, and your guard is all male. I think that there will be some deficiencies performance-wise. Design-wise, I think you get them up there. So 7th place, Cavaliers. 6th place, the Mandarins. I think they move up a spot. I'm very encouraged. And I think that they have the talent that maybe a Cavaliers may not have right now. Prove me wrong. And their design has been improving every year. Again, I wasn't a fan of last year, but that was because it was jazz in New Orleans. But if this show is anything like what I've heard, and similar to the year before, I think it's going to go. 5th place, Phantom Regiment.
Okay.
I think they drop. I think they drop because I think Wes Cartwright gets you a spot up. But only one spot, Carolina Crown in 4th.
Okay.
I wrestled with that one. I wrestled with it because I did. Does Wes Cartwright and Joe Hobbs and Cliff Walker get you to 3rd? And before last night I had them, but something in my heart told me the Boston Crusaders are going to be in 3rd. I think Boom gets them to top third.
I think.
But I think
It's great.
when we look at the two above them, they both have blue in the title. I think just what I read and what I see and what I've heard, there's a little bit more depth to that based on nothing. I haven't seen a show or heard a show. I feel like that's what's going to propel the Blue Devils to second and the Blue Coats repeat as world champions this summer.
It's bold, but I think.
Like Doritos. Sponsor us, Doritos. Do you like Doritos?
Yeah, I agree.
Favorite flavor?
Favorite flavor?
Cool
Regular.
Ranch.
Regular. Nacho.
Cool Ranch.
The only thing I would like to, I think the Blue Stars are going to be higher.
Would you put them over Troop?
No.
So
So
wait, who are you gonna
now that we're thinking about
Let's
that,
look.
when
Who do you move?
when you put it in context, okay, well,
See, and that's the thing when you rank the 12 groups is, well, who do you move? Like saying Troopers and Knights, somebody may be like, well, that's too low. It's like, okay, who do you have them
yeah,
over?
I have heard a bit of the Blue Stars show
Oh,
from
unnamed
source.
Wow,
but,
I haven't. Seriously, I'm not being
and
coy.
I'm 18 years old. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I was a big fan and more of a fan than last year. I think their brass sounds stronger, and I am a huge fan of what they're doing. I'm a huge fan of.
Wow.
I think it's. I just overall like I'm a fan. I can see them continuing to be, possibly going up or staying the same. I don't know if they're going to go up, but I think that the Blue Stars are going to turn some heads, and I think that they're going to. It's going to be like a tough battle between some of those cores down there, but
Now, do you think SCV at 8's too low?
no,
You think Cavaliers at 7th is too high?
I don't know.
Oh, so that one might be. So if Cavaliers drop down, you have the Blue Stars somehow.
Vanguard they have so many veterans, and it's
true.
You did mention that their brass is sounding a lot more
They
mature.
are.
So that's also, I don't know about Vanguard that low. I do think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's all, this is a great,
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I was only
considering
right
we
on.
know nothing.
Correct,
Like that,
correct.
it's like, I look at that, I'm like, yeah.
I had 3 of 12 in the right order last year. So,
Yeah.
I think that if
Right.
we're looking at what some of the potential hangups would be, SCV could potentially more than likely outperform the Cavaliers. So in performance, Vanguard may be over Cavaliers. But to me, based on what I've seen and heard, and I've heard and seen equal amounts of both drum corps, I think the Cavaliers have a more interesting, exciting show.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Michael Gaines, but that's just me right
sure.
now. So
For sure.
tell me how crazy I am in my comment section down below, or if you think the Vanguard fans would win. I don't think so.
Maybe.
California people, they're so crunchy.
Vanguard's probably pretty like amped up, especially after having like a year off. Like they're probably full of like pride.
You're telling me that if we had a West Coast fan fight, or West Coast drum corps fight, like the old school back in the day.
Okay.
BAC was a different abbreviation back then. Pacific Crest, the Blue Devils, Vanguard, and Mandarins. You think the Vanguard make it to the end?
Yeah.
No, it's Mandarins. I think
Okay.
it's the Mandarins. I think Blue Devils are first out.
Really?
Well, they don't want to hurt their nails. Like, oh, good. Let me get my vegan soy milk frappuccino latte. Yeah, Blue Devils just leave. I'm like, we'll see you later. We got to go polish.
They chose peace. They're like, hey, like
They chose peace.
Yeah.
Pacific Crest. I don't know if they get to the fight on time. I think they're just a little like, hey man. I know nothing about Pacific Crest, but
maybe one of them throw the swing or something.
maybe they run.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think at the end, you know what? It does come down to Vanguard and Mandarins, but you know what? I feel like the Mandarins might be a little. I'm not saying they would play dirty. They'd be scrappier. That's what I think. That's what I think. What do I know? They're dragons, right?
True.
That's correct. Well, that was a lot of 2025 DCI.
It was.
Preview. I'm super. With the first show is Thursday or Friday. Thursday. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
It's the pre-tour preview or preview, whatever. I think only like a handful of drum corps.
Yeah.
Right now, as we record, and this weekend, many drum corps are doing their parent previews. So all of our comments may go out the window because videos will be online proving us wrong.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
How could you say that?
Which is great, and that's what I like. And we do have the comment section that you please let us know what you thought about our takes or our commentary. What did we miss? What did we forget? Or you could just take a moment to talk about why you think your Drum Corps fan base would win in a fight versus another Drum Corps fan base.
Yeah.
But this is all hypothetical. It's all very, very choose peace. But it's
choose the Blue Devils.
Oh boy. Yeah, the Blue Devils.
The Blue Devils.
Sorry,
Peaceful.
I mean, Blue Coats were about peace that one year.
They were.
Yeah, but leave a comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, all those kind of things. YouTube at generaleffect.media. If you don't want to leave a comment, if you don't want to do it, you can email us. And if you have comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, maybe there's something you want us to talk about. Maybe there's something wrong, like, hey, we need to correct this next episode. This will be not a weekly thing, but it's not an everyday thing. It's based on when something happens. There's no shows between now and Thursday, so I don't know that there's anything that we need to talk about until shows start happening, and then we'll come back and we'll just start. The set will change. This is a temporary set as I build out the main General Effect Media set, but you can look forward to at least me here every time. If Aiden decides to hang out and be cool, he might be here. I don't know. You may decide. He may get a call from Flow Marching after this, and he'll be like, "Hey, we want to." That's it. You're gone. That's what I want to do. I want to build superstars. So you know, let us know in the comment section down below what you think about Aiden and Carhartt. Sponsor us, Carhartt,
Please.
I don't know. Do you want workwear? Is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah.
Workwear. Topo Chico, sponsor us. You have anything else you want to say? Anything you want to plug?
HTO, sponsor us.
Oh, you know what? Shut it down. That's the one. Dude, I hate that the closest HTO is out there on New Hope. Is that what it is?
Baghdad, yeah. Right by Leander High School.
Man.
I have used it.
Oh
my gosh, I was there
Happy
so
Hour's
often.
the best. Happy Hour's the
They
best.
got rid of it.
No, because it's summer.
No, they just got rid. You know what they replaced it with? They, instead of happy hour,
This is a commercial HTO.
it is, and I expect to
Sponsor us.
But my friend got this to me as a grad gift because I go there so often. But shout out Josh. But they got rid of happy hour, but they changed it so like you get happy hour prices if you buy their tumbler.
Gotcha.
Forever quotes. I don't believe
Oh,
them
boy.
where they say you could get like.
Is that in any HTO?
I have no idea.
Or just the home HTO?
For I think it's any, but I don't know because I just didn't look
Right.
at it. But I was just like, okay, well, cool. But I hope it's forever, but probably not.
Forevermore. It's nevermore, but yeah. It's summertime, so
Summertime.
Carolina Crown fans are still at home. They don't have to go to school on Monday. So yeah, I'm not having fun with that. Anyway, what's your favorite Carolina Crown show?
Carolina Crown, 2013.
What was it again? Oh, EM Soap Squad.
Yeah, it was empty.
Mine's the grass is always greener.
Okay.
That was a good show. Yeah. What's your least favorite? Anyway, all right. That's all for this episode. of the
Sweet.
program. I'll probably fade out the music and
Yeah.
you want to do like a what do they call it? Like a freeze frame?
Freeze frame.
Like